This level, that we named Burn, was designed and developed by a group of 3 of my classmates from Full Sail University Online and myself using the Unreal Development Kit. The player begins on the rooftop of an abandoned warehouse where an apparent enemy sets the building on fire. The player must then escape the building before it collapses, meanwhile defending himself from the ensuing ambush. We designed this level around the goal of giving the player different options while maintaining a generally linear progression. For example, we included a basic weapon that all players will find, but also 2 more powerful weapons that they can find if they do a little exploring. Also, in most situations in the game, players can choose to either go in guns blazing, or they can do a little exploring and maybe find a better route and avoid some enemies and increase their chances of coming out alive. The largest development challenge that our team faced was setting up the level's AI. We wanted to develop enemies that would react as intelligently as possible within the time constraints of the class. The solution that we settled on were enemies that fire at the player upon sight or sound, and then if the player leaves their vision, the enemies use a navigation grid that's placed across the level to head to the location where they last saw the player and then do another small search to see if they can find him from there. If they don't find him at that location for a period of time, then they simply return to their original station. In the video here, you'll see a small sample of a couple interactions between the player and enemies pursuing him. Finally, I'd like to showcase 3 unique features that we decided to include in Burn. First, to align with our design theory of giving the player options and multiple paths, we decided to make a minor alteration to what might seem like an otherwise pretty plain freight elevator. While descending, the player might notice a small opening in the side of the elevator shaft, and with a little exploration, he or she might even find the button that we placed on the back of the column that holds the original elevator button. By pressing that button, he or she can return to the height where they can get into that hole and have a better vantage point at attacking some enemies by surprise and even doing a little first-person platforming, as you'll see here, where they can skip a good part of the level and avoid some dangerous situations. Next, since our entire level is set in a burning building, we wanted to include something where the player could put out some of this fire. So we created these fire extinguishers that actually react to being shot and explode and can put out a fire nearby. We introduced the player to the fire extinguishers by basically forcing them to act on the first one. And we zoom in on it a little bit to give them a hint as to what needs to happen. But the next few that are scattered throughout the level are purely optional, and we leave it up to the player to notice them. But if they do shoot these, they open up small areas that can help them out with things like health packs and additional weapons. Finally, during the development of this level, we were toying around with the idea of using UDK's fractured mesh system. And eventually we decided to use it to give the player one more path. We tried to inform the player that we included fractured meshes in the level by including several prior to the one that actually matters. Then, once arriving at the important mesh, the player may notice a small hole that we left in the wall above the mesh, indicating that the player might be able to open up a hole and pass through the wall. So this pretty well wraps up my overview of Burn. I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching.